Welcome to another episode of Streamin with a Purpose. It's time to be inspired and motivated to live your best life on purpose. On Streamin with a Purpose, hear the stories of people who have, despite the odds, dealt with the challenges that life sometimes brings, but who still manage to overcome those odds. If you think life is tough and you have to settle for where you are, my guests and I are here to tell you you don't have to. I speak to people who were once where you are and are now living their purpose, and I want to encourage you to live your life to the fullest. I am your host, Sylvia Montgomery. Let's take a listen to our next guest. Hello and welcome to another episode of Streamin with a Purpose. I'm your host, Sylvia Montgomery, and so glad to be here with you today. So glad you are in the room with me today. And today I have as my guest, Miss Erin Duffy. How are you today, Erin?
I am so good, Sylvia. It is so lovely to be here. I'm really excited just to be in your presence and have this conversation. So thank you for inviting me.
Can't wait to hear more of what it is that you do. But I'll share a brief bio about Erin. So Erin Duffy is an executive stage presence coach with over 30 years of experience in creative agency leadership and the performing arts. Erin specializes in empowering business leaders and entrepreneurs to shine authentically. I just love that. In their spotlight, whether on stage, in meetings, or during public engagements. Through her unique coaching approach, Erin breaks down the elements of charisma, personal brand, and stage confidence, guiding her clients to connect with their true selves and project their best selves outwardly. That's what we all want, right, Erin? To project the
Absolutely.
best of ourselves. And also, her clients learn to harness the power of personal storytelling, which not only enhances their executive presence, but also fosters deeper connections with their audiences. Erin's transformative coaching programs enable individuals to elevate their stage presence, boost their confidence, and create a lasting impact. That all sounds so awesome, Erin. Yes, I love it. And you provide a service that responds to, for many of us, it's our greatest fear, right? Speaking publicly, yeah, to large audiences or to any audience for that matter. And you offer programs that focus on stage presence, confidence, and even how to overcome stage fright. I can't tell you the number of people who are dealing with that on a daily basis, but I would just love to delve into all of those programs a little. But before doing that, can you tell me how what you do corresponds to you living your purpose?
That's a great question, Sylvia. So really quick, I spent prior to starting this business, I worked in corporate America. I actually had a dual career, I should say. So I worked in corporate America in the agency world, as you had mentioned in the bio. I was in Silicon Valley and I was serving, you name the company, we were serving them. I loved the agency world, climbed up the ladder, ended up being an executive in that agency. At the same time, I was also a professional singer and actor. So I spent my time on stages, in plays. I'm also a singer, as far as a jazz singer and a cabaret singer. So I did these two careers for a good 25 plus years. And I have to say, even at that time, it was sort of serving my passion because, when I was a little girl, all I wanted to do was be an actor who sang songs, when you're 3 years old. That was my dream. And I continued to pursue that. But at the same time, I always worried, as my mother had said to me when I was 7 years old, you can't do that. You'll starve in the street. So that sort of set in my mind, Sylvia, very early on. I had to make sure I was taking care of myself, but I also was not going to stop pursuing performing. So I was able to do that for a good 25 plus years. And I will tell you, Sylvia, it would have been around the sort of 2015 timeframe. I started hearing a calling. And what that was is I realized both my careers, as much as I had loved them, they were not serving me as well anymore. I had done them, it's like they were almost becoming the same old. And, from a business standpoint, I'm like, there has to be more. And from a performing standpoint, as much as I love being on stage, I couldn't imagine spending the next 30 years just auditioning all the time and, finding a gig or whatever. I felt like I wanted to do more. And I heard this sort of voice, and it was like, I wish I could merge my two careers together.
Wow.
And of course, you say that out loud and you go, okay, what is that? Right? Creative agency and a singer actor. And it really took me hitting a point in my career where I'm like, it's time for me to pursue what's next for me. And I realized I had to do that for myself. So I did leave my corporate job. I had a bit of what I call white space, which I was really grateful for, and did a real deep dive into what I wanted to do. And as I was working with a business coach at that time, it was like, what is it that you want to do? Erin, what is it that you're most passionate about? And, we kind of did a lot of writing about that. And one thing that bubbled up through all of my experience was, if I could help business professionals and leaders find and own their voice, they will have no competition. And it was that statement, Sylvia, that took me on this journey of creating this business, where in turn, I was working with business professionals, leaders, entrepreneurs who need to own their unique voice in order to bring that to the stage. And Sylvia, when I say the stage, it's every room you walk into. It's this, right? It's one-on-ones, it's a group meeting, it's a board meeting, it's sitting on stage with 500 people. It doesn't matter. Are you bringing your authentic self to that stage? And that's what drove me. So that's sort of my passion for theater and performing, as well as my passion for business, sort of created this company that I now have.
Wow. Wow, Erin, I'm speechless right now, because you have found a way to take what you love, what you're passionate about, and turn it not just into a business, but into something that you can still find passion in, but it's going to really benefit and help others. Now, do you see a lot of this? Is this sort of like a new business in the industry? Do you see many other professionals doing what you do?
Well, not specifically how I do it. So you will find there's lots of speaker coaches out there, which they're fantastic, right? Yeah. They are going to help you get ready for that event. They're going to make you, bring your presence to the stage. But in some respects, what they're doing, they're getting you ready, right? They're getting you ready for that event. But what I found out for me is like, I'm not just a speaker coach, right? Because it's like, I want you to be able to do that deep dive where you see yourself as that unique person in your industry, in your field, so that you bubble up amongst the competition. And by us learning that first, then getting you out into whatever that speaking event is, like whether it's a one-on-one or what have you, you are comfortable and confident with who you are. So in my process, in my programs, what we do is we first work on what I call your inner game. And that is really doing that deep dive and finding out who you are, what excites you, what defines you differently than everybody else, and you really owning and claiming that. And we really do that, Sylvia, through your stories. It's really doing that deep dive and really rediscovering and owning who you are, so that when you get so comfortable with that inner game, your inner game, then we take it out to, okay, now let's get you ready to go on stage. Let's get you ready to lead that room of people. So I haven't been able to find anybody out there yet who does that full, complete process. So that's why I kind of stand out a little bit unique out there.
Absolutely. It's brilliant. I love it. And that's why I asked the question specifically, because I figured you would give me the answer that you gave me. And I love the fact that there are not many people out there doing what you do. It is so unique. And I want people to understand that it's okay to do something different. You know, when you're trying to form a business and do something, it doesn't have to be what everybody else is doing. You know, a lot of times we might say, well, nobody's doing that. You know,
Right.
great. Nobody's doing it. You can be the first. It's all about
Yeah.
the need. And
Yes.
the need is definitely there. You know, I do radio, a radio personality for a radio station. And on Tuesdays, it's Be True to Yourself Tuesday, because I just believe that, you know, to provide some tips about authenticity, just being yourself, being who you are. And I
Yeah.
love that you have incorporated that into what you do. So now,
Yes.
Erin, are your programs exclusively for executives, or are they for anyone?
They're really for anyone. So I really am very specific about really that business leader, that business professional that's
Mhm.
on the rise, right? If they're
Yeah.
rising in their organization, also the business owner, the entrepreneur, like you're talking about, because I think you and I have similar stories in that sense of like, you just brought it up. Thank God this business was driven by my passion and
Hmm.
my belief. Because as you and I both know, as business owners, it's up and down, right? It's the hills and valleys of building a business. And
Yeah.
it was that belief and that passion I had in knowing I could make a difference in those business leaders, those executives, those entrepreneurs' life. Because here's the thing, I was them. I remember being in corporate America and stealing my nerves to get through a presentation, or like, oh, I have to lead this room, and looking around and seeing it, and then discovering 70% of business leaders and business professionals are uncomfortable
Mhm.
in a room. And I realized, oh, I know I can make a difference in their lives. And so for me, it's somebody who really wants to feel comfortable and confident every time they are leading that room. So to me, if you're a rising leader, this is ideal for you. Ideal, because I had a senior leader tell me a couple of years ago, he did this program, was grateful for it. He was rising up, he was about to move into the C-suite, and he's holding himself back. So he did this work with me. And when he was done, he says, can you do this with groups? And I said, well, absolutely. And he goes, I have 3 rising leaders on my team. All of them are directors, and they're going to move soon into like a VP role, but they're very uncomfortable in the room. They're uncomfortable. They're not good at presenting. They can't speak to the board. Like, and I want to give this to them. And so he did. And the day we started the program, he came into the room and just, introduced me again, and then said, I'm giving you this program because I wished I had had it 10 years before. And that was like, yes, because a lot of times when we're rising as a leader, companies just expect you to have presence. They just expect you to well, get up there. I mean, you're smart. You've climbed up the ladder. I mean, get up there. And so many people suffer. And I truly believe you don't have to suffer. You shouldn't have to suffer. And it's really easy. That's the thing, not the suffering. You can eliminate it pretty quickly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, to just get up there. It's just not that easy, though, to just get up there. I cannot tell you, as an introvert, how
Mm.
many times I've sat at a table and have been the only introvert at the table. And it is
Ah,
so hard to even get a word in edgewise, talking about just finding your voice,
yes.
you
Yes.
know. So,
Yes.
oh yeah,
And that's the thing, Sylvia. Interesting thing you say about introverts. Of course, me being an actress, I would say some of our finest actors out there are introverts, right? And here's the interesting thing: I have found I can't tell you. I would say at least 50% of my clients are introverts. And the funny thing about introverts, you have a strength that extroverts don't have. And so when you're able to really own being that introvert and
Mhm.
understand your strengths and understand how you really creating that unique picture of you and understanding that power of being the introvert. Because the one thing about introverts, great listeners,
Mhm.
great. They sit back, They listen, they take it all in. And when you get comfortable with that versus, gosh, really should say something. I know I'm an introvert. I really should say something. And that's the pressure we put on ourselves, thinking the world wants you to say something. But the fascinating thing is when you get comfortable with being the introvert and allow yourself to just listen, and then all of you say something, more times than not, what you have to say, people listen to. They're like, oh, whoa, that was great because you've taken the time to listen. So it ends up being an incredible strength. And when we as introverts are able to claim that and own it, like really, like we wear the badge of it, it's amazing what it does to your presence. It's incredible.
Wow. I know a lot of people needed to hear that because
Yeah,
there are so many introverts. And being an introvert does not mean you have nothing to contribute. You have so much to contribute. And you said the listening, taking it all in, and the fact that people are going to listen when you do open your mouth. Oh, wow.
absolutely.
I love
Absolutely.
it.
Yes.
This is great, Erin. I'm loving this conversation. Now, was it easy for you to turn your purpose or your passion into a stream of income?
I'm not going to say it was easy because easy's too good. Easy's too easy of a word. No, I'm kidding. I would say what made it easy for me was the support I had around me, honestly. So my husband, number one supporter of this. I mean, Sylvia, when I told him, like, remember, I came out of corporate America, had a pretty high paying job, took some time off because I had the time to take. And then all of a sudden I said, I think I'm going to try this. Now, remember, it was based on an idea. I can help business professionals own their voice. They have no competition. And he's like, well, great. Why wouldn't you try it?
Wow.
And he's like, and he said to me, here's the thing. Why wouldn't you try it? You can always find a job. And that, Sylvia, I'm telling you, for me, because I was always about security. I was always about, I have to have a job. I have to make sure I can pay my bills. I was always that way. To have that sort of soft place to land really gave me the grace to, okay, I think I will try this. And he has been in the court the whole time. And
Mhm.
then I had a really amazing business coach. And then I got into a really incredible mastermind filled with people on those days, those days where you're like, God, should I really be doing this or should I just go find another job? You had those people going, no, 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 you've got it. You've got
Mhm.
it. And it was through them and also my own belief in myself because I created my program out of nothing and believing in what I was doing. And then I beta tested and it was working. And it was a lot of belief in myself. And you know what, Sylvia? It's because it was based on my belief and my passion.
Mhm.
I had to love it. That's the thing. I
Right.
think you really have to love it, right? To get through
Yes.
those up and downs. So I would say once once we beta tested, then the clients started to come. So it was, you know what, I think it's easy in a sense that a lot of it came to my own belief, but also realizing I had to be patient as well, like going through the beta process of the program and learning from the clients I had with that and allowing myself to learn and to grow. I had to be patient with myself because sometimes you just want it all right away and that's just impossible.
Yeah.
But now I look back, I was grateful for that piece as well, allowing myself to be patient. But again, it was that support system as well around me. You got to have that, right? I mean, you probably agree with that one. Got to have the
Absolutely.
support. Yeah.
Absolutely. A strong support system. I mean, and your husband just started it off. He gave you all that you needed to just take it and go. The business
Yeah.
coach, people are always saying, coaches need coaches. you know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
absolutely having people like that in your corner. And you even mentioned the fact that there were times when you thought about just getting a job and saying, But when you have those type of people in your corners, they help to keep you going. And like you said,
Absolutely.
you love what you do. The why, right? The strong
Yeah,
why, because without it, it would be easy to just say, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. But all
absolutely.
of those
Yes.
things were working in your favor.
Yeah.
However, as you said early on, though, I'm sure there were some challenges. And can you describe some of the challenges or struggles that you had along the way and how you overcame them?
Yeah, I think one of the struggles I think was watching, and I guess in a way, is it a struggle? But now I look back, this is part of being a business owner, is the evolution of your company. So when I first started the company, the focus was more on career transformation. And I still actually do the career transformation because leaders, by the way, as you're stepping your presence, you're also, transforming your career. But it was originally focused more on career transformation. But the executive presence stuff was always there. It was always there. And it really took COVID. It's kind of funny, but it was COVID that started, like, I could see the transition happening. And what I would say is prior to COVID, I ended up these were just one-offs. This had nothing to do with my original program, but I had a couple of business leaders who came to me because they were doing TED Talks. And they asked me, can you help me get my TED Talk to stage? Meaning they had their talk, but how do I bring myself to stage? So I did that. And I was just doing it as one-offs, like, oh yeah, I could do that. That's fun. And it was my business coach who said, and it was early 2020, Erin, there's something you're doing with these people that seems similar to what you're doing career, but we got to think about this. And then COVID happened, and then everybody was thrust home,
Mhm.
and everybody had to be on camera. And I started hearing these same messages when I was in networking calls, or I'd be in calls with masterminds or colleagues, and everybody was, I just want to go back to the office. I hate the camera. I hate presenting on camera. I just kept hearing about how much you hate camera. And I was the voice in all those rooms saying, guys, you need to get used to the camera. It's not going away. COVID just accelerated what's been coming for years. So you need to get comfortable. And people are like, well, great, Erin, thank you. But how do I do that?
Mhm.
And so I started seeing this need for the camera confidence. And then it grew to stage presence. And it was at first, I was like, okay, this is really fun. This is just fun. And not realizing that my business was transforming before my eyes. And I had to figure out, well, I was career transformation. How am I stage presence now? Even though stage presence was so much fun and easy, the career transformation was too, but it was like, I have two completely different things I'm offering. And it was a struggle. Like, how do I define myself now? How do I do my 30-minute, elevate or 30-second elevator pitch? Like, I had a real struggle.
Mhm.
And what ended up happening, Sylvia, is that I had to allow myself to be in the uncomfortable. I had to allow myself to be in rooms where I was trying to fill both buckets and I didn't want to jeopardize one over the other. And I felt confused and I felt like I was confusing people. But now that I look back, I was grateful. It was like, I would tell you, it was a good year of, well, I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. And I was doing both. I had clients in both worlds, but it was finally this acceptance of like, what do you have most fun with?
Yeah.
What are you the best at?
Yeah.
And I realized that executive stage presence was, well, one, it was more needed because there's
Mhm.
a lot of career coaches out there, but there were not a lot of people doing what I was doing. And so, but I had to go through the uncomfortable. And I
Mhm.
look back, it was hard. There were times, and I will be very honest with, there were times when I was right smack dab in the middle of it. And I'm like, like we we're saying earlier, should I just give this up and go back and find a job? Because it was hard. It was hard to allow myself to evolve the company and become executive stage presence. And because I couldn't see the career transformation stuff, how it was going to evolve into it. And by the way, it just naturally evolved into it because I realized that leaders, people, rising leaders come to me, they know they need presence in order to climb up their leadership ladder, and they need career advice at the same time. So that old career program just merged into a whole different program. But it was that piece. And honestly, and I wonder if you've been the same way. I've had these conversations with other seasoned entrepreneurs or business owners, and they're like, oh yeah, you're just going through one of those growth periods, where it gets scary and it gets hard and you just got to go through it. And I would say it was tough, but now I look back, I'm like, oh, thank God for it. Thank God that I allowed myself to be in the uncomfortable.
Yeah, I started giggling a little while ago because it sounds so familiar because
Really?
I think I'm going through that right now. But I call it, it's like growing pains for a business that is about to grow. It's about to do something different, and it's okay. And for a lot of business owners out there, it's scary, and they do think they need to retreat and turn back because they may not really think they know what they're doing. But it's an opportunity to maybe pivot a little bit, but that's okay because when you do that, it helps to get you back on track to where you need to be. Just like you say, you thank God for the whole transformation of the business and in some way. And just a couple of things I wanted to go back to. Number one is when you mentioned the TED Talks. Originally, as I was reading your bio, that's what I was thinking, TED Talks. But then you talk about in front of the camera with Zoom and how COVID just sort of changed how we work because we were all in front of the camera. And then I did think I said something about one-on-one. So you're just doing it all. And you're working with people as they need. You're just sort of meeting people where they are with their needs as far as stage presence, and stage can be one-on-one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just going back to COVID for a minute, and I'm sharing all of this because whoever's watching, just hopefully, but so many people saw COVID as the worst crisis ever. But for those of us who were really just sort of using the time that we had, just using it as best as we could.
Yeah.
So much came from it. There were so many new things that popped out as a result of COVID. So I just want to encourage people to take advantage of any opportunity, no matter how devastating or disastrous it might be. Just let's see where it takes you. Let's see where it can bring you to, because any situation is an opportunity to grow. Wouldn't you agree with that, Erin?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. You just nailed it big time. I mean, it's every time you're in the uncomfortable, it is room for growth. And you hit it right on the note. It's growing pains. And we can't transform until you go through the growing pains. And it can be painful. It can be, and somebody explained it too. Like there is also grief. There's grief of letting go of what you knew or what you expected. Oh, this is going to be me forever. It's like, no, you have to let go of what no longer serves you and allow yourself to grieve that. Because in order for us, when we grieve it, then we are able to then move to that next level. And you're right. I mean, COVID was transformational in so many good ways, especially, for business owners. And like I say, it really was COVID that sparked this whole other side of the business, which now is the business. And I don't know, I mean, other than doing the TED Talks, I think for my business, it might have taken me longer if we didn't have had COVID to find, oh yeah, like people are uncomfortable on the camera. Here, help me. Let me show you how to show up as a leader on camera and pull your audience in. It may have taken, I don't know, another year before that became anything because people were really comfortable being in the office and they weren't doing camera. And so, yeah, so in a way, I always told people like with COVID, it was, obviously COVID was so transformational in multiple ways. And there were many not so great things about it, but even through it, and even now I say, always look for the silver lining. There were so many silver linings that came from COVID. And I'm always the optimist anyway, but there were a lot of beautiful things like that, even from a technology standpoint. It's amazing how technology transformed because of COVID and because we were all home. I mean, it is incredible when we think back.
That is so true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Now, Erin, if there was anything that you could do different, what would it be?
God, that's a great question. What would I do differently? Yeah, I think I would, and my husband probably would not be surprised at this because wait, what are you talking about? I sometimes I allowed the fear to get in the way of me growing at times when, I thought, oh, this is not the right time, or I'm not the right person, or, oh, this is too scary. Like, I can't remember exactly. I know there were multiple minutes like that, moments like that, where I allowed fear to stop me from taking a step forward, which then I did take that step forward. And it's like, oh my God, why didn't I do that a while ago? I just wish I had allowed the fear to not get in the way at times. And I'm fully aware of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I know, and even all the journaling I could do, I did all the right stuff. There's just sometimes it was like, oh, this is just too much for me right now. And I look back and it's like, oh, and if that didn't get in the way, might I be farther? But then I always think the past is perfect and you're exactly where you're supposed to be at this moment. So yeah, but I would say that would be it. It would just, if I didn't let the fear get in the way some of those times.
Yeah. Fear is a big deal. And it is fear that actually causes so many people to not fulfill their dreams, right? To not actually even start their business because they're so fearful of what could possibly happen. But I hear you saying that if only you hadn't allowed the fear, then you could have moved so much quicker and gotten things done. Eventually you did move. You didn't let the fear control it and absolutely stop you, which is great. And people need to hear that, because when they realize that, to just do it through the fear, right? Just to do it anyway, that it will be okay. And you'll look back and be like, why didn't I do it sooner? I should have moved sooner. And I think it's important for people to hear that. So thanks so much for sharing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's a very human thing. It really is.
Absolutely. I think we all go through that at some point.
Yeah.
But it's talks like this, and they can think back and be like, okay, I think I'm gonna just try to do it anyway.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, I think you hit it on the nose, especially with your podcast. Like, pursue it even still when the fear's in the way. Sometimes too, fear's there. Well, it's there to keep us safe, right? It's just there to keep us safe, like keep us afraid from taking those steps forward. But when you allow, as you so eloquently talk about, if you're so clear on your passion and clear on what you want to do, it's easy to thank the fear, but keep walking forward.
It's a great example. As an introvert, again, I can't tell you how many times I almost talked myself out of doing this podcast.
Oh, and you're so brilliant at it. See, no one would know you were an introvert.
You got to do it through the fear, right? And you just learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Erin, it's what we do.
That's exactly it. I mean, well, it's interesting you bring that up, because I remember, and you might relate to this as well. one of the biggest fears for me was launching this company,
Mm.
because I came 25 plus years in corporate America. My entire LinkedIn database was filled with a bunch of Silicon Valley people. I mean, I'm still close with these people, but in that industry. And think about it. I'm launching a business that is completely nothing to do with what I did for 25 years. I was so afraid to push that button, launch the website, and
Mm-hmm.
promote it on LinkedIn, because I was afraid,
Mm-hmm.
what will those people say? And by the way, that's our internal fear, because what do you think happened? I launched it. The reaction from my community in Silicon Valley was, oh my God, this is fantastic. Of course you're doing this. Like, they know us better than we know ourselves, right? But it was really interesting how fearful I was of, like, what's people going to say,
Mm.
And then it was the complete opposite of what the fear was telling me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. You just went out there on faith.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
love that. Erin, what one piece of wisdom would you share right now with someone who's close to giving up on their purpose?
you know, um, Give yourself some grace and sit down and write, what are the 5 things about this that excite you?
Mhm.
Write that out, and then write the why. And then, if you can, put a story to it. And the reason you want to do this is that it's going to counteract that fear. You're going to realize that this is yours and yours alone. Because when you look at your 5 reasons, no one has your 5 reasons. They're yours. And those why, cement them for you. And when that happens, and I tell people, write it down, because we want to use our hand, because when we do this, it's really good for your brain. Hold on to it and look at it every single day. Read it out every single day. This is what helps you get through that moment of, in which Sylvia and I both relate to, those moments of, should I give this up? Should I
Mhm.
go find another job? Just look at that, because that's yours. No one else's. No one else's story. No one else's 5 things. No one else's why. And when you look at that, that's that soft place for you to land, because it's coming from you. It's coming from right here. That inner voice inside you is telling you to continue to move forward. But
Mm.
hang on to it and review it every single day. Read it out loud every day. It will give you that, all right, let's do this today.
Mhm.
That sort of energy.
I
It's a
love it.
powerful stuff.
I
Yeah.
love it. That's great. I just love that. I'm gonna have to write that down
Yeah.
myself because that is really powerful.
Mm,
I love that. And again, what it does is it takes your focus off of what everyone else is doing and just,
exactly. Yeah.
puts it back on what you're about to do. Forget about what everybody else is doing. Forget about how different or unique it might look. Forget about it. It's
Forget about it.
yours. And you
It's yours.
focus on that because, like you said, no one else has those reasons.
No one
They're
else's
your
reasons.
reasons.
Yes, like I said at the very beginning, if everyone can show up
Mm-hmm.
100% their authentic self,
Mm-hmm.
they have no competition. So let's say you're a bunch of marketing professionals. You all look the same. Your resume is the same. Your experience is the same. That's what it looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not true. If you're able to do that deeper work and really find your voice in that, and
Mm-hmm.
find out how you stand out uniquely, you bubble up to the top, because no one can be you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. And that also gives us that grounding we need to pursue that passion, to pursue that business, because it really does come from us. It's there,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
This has been awesome. Such great stuff already, Erin. I just wanted to ask you, do you have any other tidbits that you want to share about purpose?
Let's see, other tidbits about purpose. If you're, again, if you know your purpose, and if you're actually, I've had people say, what is my purpose? Give yourself some time to figure it out. That's the problem we have today, is we as individuals always take care of everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You got kids, maybe you got a team working for you, you got all this stuff. Give yourself the gift of time for yourself. And I will tell my clients, like, literally carve out 2 hours. And when I say for yourself, that means you turn the phone off. You don't have any distractions. Even if you have kids, like I have a client who literally would put a sign on her door and say, I'm in here for 2 hours. Don't bother me. Unless the house is burning down, don't bother me. And it was like so smart. Her kids, by the way, stuck to it. But when you give yourself 2 hours of not being online, not being on Facebook, no, 2 hours of just being with you,
Mm-hmm.
and just write about what is my purpose, and let your mind go. Let it go. And I always tell people, don't pick the pen up. Keep writing. Just write. Write. There's no need to edit. No one's going to see it. Write it out. You may be amazed what comes out, but you have to give yourself the time. That's the key. I always think is the absolute key. And we're not very good about doing that. So we as humans need to be doing that more often. So give yourself the gift of time.
It's hard to block everything else out, especially for us women, because we're doing so much for so many other people, like you said, and
Yeah,
to give ourselves that time is like unthinkable. Who does that?
I
But,
know.
we have to start thinking that way, right?
Yes. Yes, we
Absolutely.
do. Absolutely. It's a gift, and we give gifts to everybody,
Uh-huh.
but we're
Yeah.
horrible about giving ourselves gifts. So,
Yeah.
and by the way, it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost any money. It just costs time. And if it
Mhm.
means leaving the house and going to a coffee shop, do whatever you need to do, but give yourself that gift of time, because
Mhm.
that really helps you to hone in on what's important to you and what is your purpose. And then once that happens, finding the strength of, defining what that is for you and getting comfortable with it so that you choose to pursue it,
Mhm.
time.
Mm. Now, not only do you help other people with their speaking engagements, but people can also book you to speak at events, right?
Absolutely.
To help
Yes.
connect their audiences to their brand, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you also have a website. So, what is the best way for people to connect with you?
Best way is, I'm on LinkedIn. So if you're listening to this and you want to connect with me there. I have a newsletter that goes out once a week. You get tips on executive stage presence every week from me. So if you go on LinkedIn, you can actually link in with me and subscribe to the newsletter there. That's one of the best ways. And of course, my website. But if you do, DM me, let me know that you heard me with Sylvia, and would love to have the conversation, especially if this is resonating with people. Please DM me. We could do a little 20-minute meet and greet. Would love to hear, what's getting in your way from bringing
Awesome.
your presence to every stage. And that's
Mhm.
every room you walk into.
And what's that website address, Erin?
It is www.inspirationsquared, and squared is SQRD.com.
Okay. And I assume they can get to all of your social media channels from there as well.
Yes, they can. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. This has been great stuff, Erin. I have really, truly enjoyed talking with you today. You shared some great tips, and I just love what you do. And I'm wishing you all the best as your business continues to grow and transforms, and who knows what else.
Thank you, Sylvia. This has been such a delightful conversation. Really, I've been listening to your podcast. It's even more fun getting to talk to you. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
You're welcome. Thank you. You have just listened to Streaming with a Purpose with your host, Sylvia Montgomery. Thank you so much for listening, and continue to stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, bye-bye.